So hello, I'm up the forestry, Finnick Pod, good boy, Nala, Raven, Jazz, I think that's everyone. Pickles, did I say Pickles? Oh gosh. So I figured I'd talk a little bit about the history of the Dalmatian. Now their exact origin isn't known, but there was certainly a spotty hound in like the Roman, ancient Greek times, and they were used to hunt primarily deer, but the ability, and they were bred for being able to run alongside horses and then hunt. So their affinity with horses has been there for a very long time, and it's very much a characteristic that's remained, even though like people don't necessarily breed for it, even though you may get the odd one who's frightened or doesn't like horses or whatever, but there's definitely a consistent theme of following horses. And the idea behind the spotted coat, especially on a hunting dog, would be camouflage or dazzlement. So the idea is, for example, like the stripes on a zebra, when they run as a herd, it's meant to confuse the predators. So that would be like a form of dazzlement. And if you think of hunting in quite sandy, deserty ground, the spots would be rocks, wouldn't they? They'd fit with rocks. And then as that form of hunting became less popular and people from England started coming over and took a liking to these spotted hounds and their affinity with horses, they then brought them over for them to become carriage dogs. So I'm going to pause this and I'm going to take some pictures and then I'll carry on. So there has been confusion as well about the origin of the Dalmatian. Part of that is there's an area of Croatia called Dalmatia. So people often think or say that that's where the name came from, but there is no real evidence of this. But there definitely is evidence of them in paintings and very ancient texts of a spotted hunting dog. They may or may not look like they do today, because I know once the Brits got their hands on them, they were very much bred and designed to be carriage dogs. So the idea is they can run with carriages and look very fancy doing so, but also have the ability to protect the carriage, to hunt en route, which would go back to their ancient purpose of running with horses as a hunting dog. But they added the extra element of protection, which is where they ought to have enough bone to be able to stand up to running around horses and being around horses on all sorts of terrain, but also to be big enough to protect the carriage and protect the horses and protect the people in that carriage. So the fact that they should have a level top line with a tail that comes off the top line level with a very slight upward curve at the end of the tail, like Jazz. So if the dogs needed to go underneath the carriage for any reason, then they could do so without damaging their tails, is the idea there. And yeah, having plenty of heart and lung room, cat-like feet in order to stay sound while doing so, straight legs in order to stay sound. And the Dalmatian breed standard does call for a happy and outgoing dog, so they shouldn't be reactive, but they should be able to assess situations. And I say if half of mine, maybe a little bit more than half, will alert bark, but what tends to happen is you have like Jude and Dudley, who are the main ones who alert bark. Raven sometimes as well, actually. And then the others tend to chime in. So it's not necessarily that they all alert bark. It's more that they work as a pack. Again, going back to their ancient history, that they work as a pack. They are a hunting hound pack dog, which in some countries, when they show, they are in a hound group with like Rhodesian Ridgebacks and stuff. And the Rhodesian Ridgeback breed standard is largely based off the Dalmatian breed standard. So that's a nice little tidbit for you as well. So that's the first part of their breed history. I will talk more in depth about when they became fire dogs and when the gypsies had them and when they were in use in a circus as circus dogs. So they've had a very varied history as time's gone on, and as I suppose humans evolved and developed, the dogs had to follow suit, and that's very much how they've matured and developed as a breed. So I think what I'm going to do on this walk now is I'm going to do the zigzag down, which is a longer way down, but they get a bit of a longer walk without it being as long as going up the top tier. That's kind of the plan anyway. So yeah, I hope you enjoyed part one of I don't know how many parts of the Dalmatian breed history. And maybe at some point this will morph into, at the end of the series, Harfwena's breed history. Harfwena's history of where we started, where we went, why we do things, what we've done, and all the rest of it. Which I know for the OGs you kind of know all of this, but it would be like a new section of the channel where people can learn all of that stuff about us. So anyway, I hope you've enjoyed, and I shall see you all soon. Bye.